time is of the essence, and we are determined to get Wave Rover launched or relaunched on time.
The Wave Rover 650, a design based on my solo ocean crossings.
Well, Rovers, welcome back to the boatyard. I'm not in the best of health right now, in the sense that I'm suffering from a cold of some sort. My eyes are all swollen, and they were, I don't want to gross anybody out, but they were weeping with some sort of green liquid the last couple of days. In fact, when I wake up in the morning, they're welded shut. I've got to wash them clear to open them, and they're kind of swollen. My voice is off, but time is of the essence, and we are determined to get Wave Rover launched or relaunched on time. And to that end, we have the Mast Out. So yesterday, I had removed the wedges. I had organized all the lines. I had removed the bottom pin from the mast, and I went ashore this morning for a quick errand, and when I came back, the mast was out. They tell me it was a very quick job from start to finish. The reason the mast is out, I mean, I would have preferred not to do this, but we have these chafe issues, and you saw me deal with that when I was back in Stonington with Harold's help. We came up with a solution on the boom, battens, and sail to prevent this from happening. So now we're going to do a repair on this. We're going to seal it, and then we're going to paint the mast, and we've got to get that done quickly. So let's jump into what has been done and what needs to be done during this refit. So we have 5200 as a good solid bond between the lead and the boat. And this little gap you're seeing, the only reason you're even seeing that at all is because the bottom of the keel was radiused. And then later Andy will be filling that, and you won't even see it after it's got a bit of paint on it. Okay, quiet on the set. So yesterday, the lead shoes were bolted onto the bottom of the keels on each side, and now Andy is fairing them in. How's the work going, Andy?
Slow, but it's going to come out really well.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed with how these fit, and the fairings is going to make them look like they were never even added.
And more importantly, how much faster will Wave Rover go?
Oh, 2-3 knots above hull speed, easy.
All right, you
But
heard
no,
it. You heard it here first.
But it definitely will. It will help the sailing capability. Will improve stability, and it'll make Alan's sailing adventures much more fun.
All right, thanks very much, Andy. Great work.
Thank you.
So there were some questions in the last video as to why am I going with these lashings? Well, I explained that pretty thoroughly during the building of Wave Rover, but let me just succinctly sum up with why I'm doing this. First off, when people talk about why don't you put stainless in, I mean, the first thing that pops into my head is, why wouldn't you do a lashing? You know, this has marvelous non-friction about it. It's easy to replace, should it need to be replaced. And after 1,500 miles, and most of those miles were pretty rugged, there was zero chafe on them. I mean, crossing an ocean, maybe 3,000 miles, we don't expect there'll be any issue. But even if there was, it's totally repairable. Whereas on my last boat, on the Contessa, I had a really nice pintle and gudgeon system with some sort of metal. I'm not sure what it was, probably some sort of bronze. And it was really loose and sloppy. And to get that repaired when I was in the Caribbean, I know was going to be a very pricey undertaking and very timely. Whereas this is neither of those. It's neither pricey nor does it take much time to get a non-stretch abrasive resistant rope. So that's the reason. I mean, with all due respect, when I hear those questions, the first thing that pops into my head is, why doesn't everybody do this instead of the stainless? The second thing I want to address is the lead has been attached to the boat and it was a fine job, and now it's being filled, and the filling has been started. It's not finished. Now, why did we add this? Well, again, I covered that just a few episodes ago toward the end of season 2, but the main reason was we wanted to have more stability on the boat. I felt that I could have used more stability. And why is that? Well, it means that I can keep more sail up longer. And I wanted that because I felt I was reefing just a little too soon. So how much lead do we actually add? Well, in the boat, that's hollow, and right about here, so let me just back so you can see, right about here is where the lead starts, and it comes down to here. And that is 500 pounds of lead that we put in each keel for a total of 1,000 pounds. The steel adds up to 100 pounds for each keel. So the total weight of the original keel setup was 1,200 pounds, 1,000 pounds of lead and 200 pounds of steel. So now, out of that 500 pounds, we've added another 105 pounds. So we've increased the lead by 20% on Wave Rover. So it's a total of, we've added 2 shoes, each of 105 pounds. Now, we could take that lead and just have it in the bilge, and we would displace that extra weight, of course. But when you add the lead, let's say we pour the lead into here and it sits above our original lead line, we will get a certain amount of stability. But by putting the lead at the very bottom, we increase that stability quite substantially. So by putting the lead totally at the bottom, you have a much stronger riding moment than you would have just by putting the lead up higher. So that's it on the lead. Now, what am I going to work on in the next few minutes is the mast. When I was on the first part of the trip, so that was from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, through to Port Hawkesbury and Halifax, and leaving from Halifax on the open ocean then to Cape Cod and sailing down to Stonington, Connecticut. Well, we had a lot of grinding action that occurred with the boom and the battens against the mast. We solved that issue when we were in Stonington. Again, another great episode to see, but I knew I'd have to repair these little divots. And there's another one here, and I'm going to do that today, and then tomorrow we'll sand that back and we'll get ourselves just some paint on here. So Rovers, that's the overview. Time to crack on. So this is 220 sandpaper. We're just basically putting a scratch on the mast so that the new paint will adhere to the mast. So I've prepped all the spots I want to repair. I've circled them, and some of them have deeper gouges, and we'll be filling those with a mixture of epoxy and micro balloons, and I'll be just giving everything a nice thin coat of epoxy first. So these are the repair points. Now let's get some thin epoxy on here. So I managed to fill in all these spots that needed fill, and of course I covered them in packing tape, which you can probably see just right here, and that'll allow the fill to be distributed really well and make my sanding that much easier. And just after I started, I had a guest, and it's Chuck Stone, and Chuck, I pressed into service right away, and he cut the tape for me and handed it to me. Always a help.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity to actually just show up and be impressed into work, and Alan's doing a fine job with this, and I just wish him the best of luck as he sails around the world.
And believe it or not, I did not pay Chuck to say that. Thank you very much, Chuck.
You're welcome.
Well, there were some complaints that the zip ties weren't trimmed off, and it was a good observation. I'm now trimming the very last one. There we go. Now they're all trimmed. Yet another job that's been crossed off. Well, Rovers, I was planning on painting the mast today, but unfortunately it rained on me, and it's overcast and likely to shower again before the evening's out. So what I've done is I've prepped the mast. So the mast has been sanded, cleaned. All the bits that I put epoxy on have been rubbed down. They're ready to go. So tomorrow we're supposed to have a pretty good day, and I hope to get the paint on the mast and the bottom paint on the boat all in one go. So on account of the weather, I've decided to work on the hatch closure. So when I'm outside and it's that kind of weather where the hatch needs to be closed, all I do is I just take a heavy bungee cord and take it around the handle and this eye. That was part of the reason about that, having that eye there. A very simple solution, but it's mostly having the hatch closed on the inside. Now the hatch has a fair weight to it, so it's unlikely to open in most events. So before I went back to Prince Edward Island, I had put this gasket all the way around, and it's a 1/4 inch gasket, and you can see there's a kind of a depression where the hatch combing sits on it. But I also have these four items here, and that's really what keeps the hatch closed when I'm at sea in heavy weather. So let's go on the inside and just see how that works. So we're inside right now, and what we have are these little pegs, and these handles come down and you just press them over the pegs. The pegs have a little lip on the bottom, and we'll do this one as well. That's probably all I'll ever need to do, but I do have 2 more on the upper edge as well. So with these on, let's just see, you can push and you're not going to get hardly any movement there at all. So that certainly will do the trick. These are heavy duty latches. They're not going to fail me. Well, that's it for this video. I'm getting a little anxious to get the boat into the water. I can have the boat ready, and well, tomorrow I'll get the bottom paint on, and Monday I'll be ready, but I suspect it won't be Monday that I put the boat in the water. They still have in the travel lift well, there's still quite a bit of equipment that they have. They haven't launched any boats yet, and they haven't given me a schedule. So I'm getting a little worried, but not terribly. We still have a few days left. Right now, if I was to launch, it's still a little cool to be on the water, but we're let's see, it's April 27th right now, and I really wanted to be launched by the 30th, and I wanted to be underway shortly after, and I wanted to be down in the Norfolk area or the Hampton Roads area by the middle of May, and that would put me in a really good position and a really good time to be looking for a weather window to head out to sea. As always, folks, thanks for watching, and forge your own adventure.